And then around 2000, we did Giant Rock Festival in DC, a huge stadium tour. All these like super hardcore bands like playing, and then Blue Man, it was kind of like a last-minute addition. The show was an absolute disaster. It's really affected the way they approach things creatively, and then from a production standpoint, it totally affected the way that, because we came in, we had like a bunch of cardboard boxes and some like plywood, cases and things like that, and like, and everybody else had these like slick road cases and everything, and we were like kind of looking around, we like felt very, like theater people.
It's hard to identify the moment where we decided that we wanted to enter the rock concert world. So it was probably like a desire that was always underlying, but it got more and more traction behind it over time. I think doing, audio and then the Grammy nomination for audio sort of gave us credence in the music world and sort of put some fire behind it. Like clearly there's a rock kind of sensibility about our work. It also was the opportunity to give Blue Man a voice through the lyrics and not have the Blue Man speak and not try to have the LED signs do all the work for the Blue Man, but an opportunity to really put some stuff out there verbally, which opened up the door to work with a lot of different artists and work in that rock arena. And it did well, people loved it, sort of iterating on it with the Complex, and then finally now with Megastar, just furthering that story of the Blue Man exploring the rock world. It seems to be working out pretty well.
2001 was a big year for us because at the beginning of the year, it was very positive. We purchased the Astor Place Theater as well as the 2 buildings that came along with the purchase. So we finally had the sort of fate of the New York production more closely in our hands. We had much more control over it, which was fantastic and sort of a very exciting development, I think, for that production. But September 11th of that year obviously had a huge impact on the organization, obviously initially emotionally, and dealing with that as an organization spread out over several cities. But then really it had a huge business impact. We really, for the first time, I think, saw the vulnerability of the organization and what it means to be in the entertainment business or business built on discretionary income. It really impacted us on several different levels, actually. Just business-wise, financially, re-looking at how we operated, creating a business vision, really, for the first time.
I think that probably the most profound moment was after September 11th. Our company was not impacted by the tragedy, but our city was greatly impacted, and the world was greatly impacted by it, and our show. And so the first night that we had a performance, I think it was 2 days after everything had happened, and we knew that there was probably not going to be a lot of people coming into the show. But we decided to go on with the show because we felt like it was the right thing to do. It was, people are looking for some kind of connection. They're looking for something to get their minds off of what just occurred. So the first night we had a candlelight vigil out in front of the theater. Then afterward we put the show on, and I actually sat up in the balcony here and watched the performance the entire way through. And it just moved me. We were doing something for the people who had chosen to come out that night. It was just emotionally, it meant a great deal, and it just really made me feel like we were having an impact.
September 11th also really made us look at the trajectory of the company in a different way. We really needed to, we realized it was at that point in time too, we really needed to sort of diversify the different types of things that we were working on. And I think it was at that point in time was really the initial thoughts for that in some ways. In some ways that goes back to the beginning, but really at that period we realized, because there was such an impact on all of our productions in North America, I think really the seeds of, okay, let's really start thinking about internationally. How could we be diversifying so we're not solely dependent upon income coming from one source, so that if we have to weather periods, we can sort of balance, you know, have a more even-keeled balance, and be spreading sort of some of the places where we draw resources from out a bit more.